Look at these photographs from the 19th century. It is easy to identify Paris by the Triumphal Arch. But all the buildings around look like in the paintings of famous ruinists. It was like a battle was going on here. What happened? Another French Revolution? But the same is true for many other photographs. But this is not the only mystery of the recent past. Now take a look to find the monstrous footage. Huge underground spaces are littered with human bones. This is a forbidden part of the Parisian catacombs where outsiders are not allowed to enter. And yet people want to come here. They are called cataphiles in France. And the Parisian catacombs themselves are the empire of death. And as you can see, not in vain.
It's a floor of bones. Tin. Here, well, mamma mia. I have never seen such a beast. And here is the year 1854. Wow. Bones, bones, bones. Of course, I try to be careful. Bones, there are only bones here, bones all around. Tin. Just tin. Yes, I haven't seen this yet.
Officially, all these are victims of the bubonic plague that raged in Europe in 1418. Moreover, at the beginning, those who died from the pandemic were buried upstairs in the cemetery of the innocents. And only later, in the 17th century, they decided to move them to the quarries under the city, carefully treating them from infection. And the Parisian authorities have been doing this, which is rather strange, for almost 100 years. However, not everyone believes in this version. And there are good reasons for this. According to historians, the remains of about 6 million people are located here. This is more than the population of modern Paris. Of course, it was the largest city of medieval Europe. But then in the 15th century, its population did not exceed 300,000 people. Where could 6 million come from in 200 years, which urgently needed to be dragged underground? And why weren't they burnt? It is very strange.
Look at all this. It's just a huge collection of skulls, human. There are a lot of different bones, hips, it's like a warehouse here.
Such a throne of human bones is generally beyond good and evil. But it is very popular among enthusiasts wandering here. Some of the remains are beautifully stacked and decorated in the form of walls and columns. It is these architectural delights that are now officially allowed to be viewed by those who wish. It's amazing, but somewhere among these bones lie the remains of prominent scientists, Lavoisier and Blaise Pascal, writers François Rabelais and Charles Perrault, and possibly Molière, famous politicians Jean-Baptiste Colbert, Danton and Robespierre. Without further ado, it is clear that something terrible had to happen in Paris for the French to simply dump everyone in one common heap. Be that as it may, many have no doubt that the Parisian catacombs are one of the main evidence of the catastrophe that has befallen mankind recently. And they try to erase her memory. Look, this is a ossuary in the Czech town of Sedlec. 80 kilometers from Prague. It looks more like the lair of a maniac or a serial killer than a Christian abode. However, this is the temple, Church of All Saints. Tourists especially like the chandelier made of human bones. The remains of about 40,000 people left for all the decoration of the temple. In the Czech Republic there are many bone-like repositories. And they testify to the difficult European history. What is it connected with? This is the medieval Church of St. Jacob in Brno. And only in 2001, archaeologists were surprised to discover that in the catacombs under the temple, there are bones of more than 50,000 people. A whole collection of bones is located under the oldest church in the Czech Republic, Peter and Paul, in the town of Melniky near Prague. And in Kolin, 50 kilometers from Prague, and in Niškov too. And everything converges in Prague, one of the most mysterious cities in Europe. Under the city there is a huge number of intricate dungeons. And this hints to the researcher that Prague, along with Paris, was one of the epicenters of the cataclysm. The dungeon under the old town square is huge. It is believed that the first floors of approximately 70 medieval houses are located underground here. An intricate network of catacombs is located under the Prague castle. In fact, all the old quarters stand on another underground city. In Prague, there are many restaurants that are located deep underground. There is not one floor here, but at least 3 or 4. It is believed that the level of the land in the city rose greatly in the 13th century due to severe floods. Then the houses themselves sagged and went underground. And as they say, the residents simply buried the first floors by 6 meters, turning them into basements, and the second floors became the first. There are buried cities all over Europe, as well as the ossuary of the victims of this catastrophe. Look, Capela dos Ossues in Portugal. The remains of many thousands of people from Ivrea. And this is Milan, one of the capitals of European fashion. But the fashion for decorating temples with human bones did not bypass him. This is the Church of Sant Bernard in Polios. It is believed that these are the bones of deceased patients of a nearby hospital. Prison prisoners. But is all this really true? How many hundreds of years did the prisoners have to die for so many ownerless remains to accumulate? But, of course, Rome itself. Many remains, believed to be of the Capuchin friars, lie under the floor of the Church of Santa Maria della Concezione. Rome also has its own catacombs, which also contain hundreds of thousands of people, and which also look more like a city covered with soil. But the same is true in Odessa. Odessa catacombs are generally considered the largest in the world, although this city is much smaller than Rome or Paris. With one exception, of course, there aren't that many dead. Many sections of the Paris catacombs are flooded today. You can move around them with great difficulty. Some passages, shafts and wells are concreted or laid with stone blocks. It is clear that earlier the Parisian catacombs were even more extensive. Why part of them was blocked, not a single conductor undertakes to say. And diggers express even more shocking hypotheses.
The bones are approaching the very ceiling. I wonder how they were put together. Those individuals who ate these people. They just seem to stack bones on bones all the way to the ceiling.
It is also striking that the catacombs are not at all like the place where the stone was mined. The walls are neatly laid out, wells for water and light have been cut through. It is obvious that all this is more like a building than a mine working. Why are there so many branches here? Where did they lead and why were they laid? This is another riddle of the Parisian catacombs, to which there is no answer. As well as many others. Wells, strange structures of incomprehensible purpose in which someone has obviously lived for a long time.
Wow, this is such an odd place. And so many branches laid down. It can be seen that it was a branch lined with such a diagonal masonry. It was laid down a long time ago. Over 100 years ago. And the catacombs are generally very ancient.
One famous French speleologist digger explored the Parisian catacombs for a long time. And in the end, he came to a shocking conclusion. The catacombs are not a quarry at all, as they try to convince us. It is obvious to a specialist that many tunnels were made from different materials and at different times. And they are buried and walled up in a completely different era. And already in our time there were people who tried to dig something up to find out more. But without results. The guys took apart as much as they could. But the tunnel goes much further than these people have dug. The tunnel leads down. It can be seen that the tunnel is of good quality. It was specially filled up. He did not collapse, he was just covered up. For what? This is an interesting question. It is clear that they would not climb. So what are they hiding there? This is, of course, curious. And the surroundings of Belgrade and the city itself are also pitted with hundreds of kilometers of tunnels, stalin and mines. Dozens of kilometers of underground passages have been laid. There is a huge number of both artificial and natural caves, combined into one system. They are called logums. These are quarries and catacombs, bunkers and bomb shelters. Perhaps these complex underground catacombs were designed to protect against cataclysms. In addition, in the very center of Kalimikdan, there is a very strange building, the purpose of which is not completely clear today. This is a Roman well, another unsolved mystery of Belgrade. Some see it as almost a mine for launching ballistic missiles. But this, of course, is not the case. 12 floors, look carefully.
Here is a cylinder. Here it has such a shape from above. An amazing building is not clear, of course, what it is. Something was launched. I can't say anything more.
According to researchers, climate disasters led to flooding or falling asleep of cities, as well as to mass deaths of people. But some put forward even bolder ideas. It may have happened from time to time. From hurricanes, earthquakes, or sandstorms. It is quite possible that there really were some terrible natural disasters there. Climate change. And then there was global climate change. By the way, as a result of which the redistribution of the political map took place. But why is it hidden? As some experts assure, the catastrophes that led to this may still return. Perhaps they were cyclical. We still have a lot to learn and explore. Subscribe to the channel and let's solve these riddles together. Write your opinion in the comments, I will be interested to read. See you in the next videos.